There.
All right.
Who else is missing?
Uh-oh.
Ellen.
Live stream. Yeah, got it.
Setting up the meeting for the YouTube Live. I believe we are now streaming. Okay.
Okay.
All right. It's 5:36 on Wednesday, March the 2nd. The meeting will come to order and we will say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
to America,
And to
and to the republic
Republic
for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation, under
under
God,
God, indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty, and
liberty,
justice for all.
justice for all. Okay.
All right. Somebody just joined, I think.
Let me have it take up the whole screen here.
Ellen is away. She's not going to be joining us.
And
I can only show
Bob Wood,
myself,
Bob
Val,
Wood.
Teresa, your Bill, Mark, and Janet Mike.
Mark, are you there?
Yep.
Okay.
Bob Wood will not join us, but so we've got 5 out of 7. That's pretty good.
Okay.
Public portion, since nobody other than us are here, we'll move ahead. Approval of the minutes for the February meeting. Any thoughts, any motions?
I'll move
make
that
a
they be
motion.
approved as written.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You opposed? Okay. Membership issues, I think we're in good shape there. Recent trails activity, because of the weather, only one work party got held, which was the rec path up from the dog park. I don't know if you went all the way to Great Ledge or not, but anyway, it sounded very successful.
Yeah, we had a good turnout.
Yeah.
And
So well,
yeah.
could
And
use
I
some
know
more trimming, but what we got was really good.
And that
it was a
corner
nice
was
day.
So much better.
A
Great.
lot of people out using the trail.
Obviously, there were some tree falls that I know Mark and Luis got some, and I don't know if other people did also, but it's nice that we get input from the public that allow us to know where things are, and certainly when we can get to them. It's not like we're we're firefighters that have to get there the minute it drops. So anyway, it's good
I'd
that
say
we.
Mark's pretty close. A red shirt and a hat.
Yeah.
It gives me an excuse to get out.
So anyway, I don't know of any issues, problem. Mark obviously provided a list of hours for the work party, and he and Luis, and I don't know if others have others, but other hours, I should say.
I had about 3 miscellaneous hours for blog posts and stuff for the barn, but that was it. In addition to the work party.
All right. Very good. Item 6, the impact of Eversource Tower. Obviously, Teresa actually sent an email to the team at Eversource about French's Hill and the fact that there are now trails there. And they got back to us and said if we would like, they would be interested in meeting with the whole committee sometime, in fact, in March. I don't know, it would have to be, I assume, during the day. I mean, they're not likely to want to meet in the evening, but does it make sense? Do we need such a meeting that's sort of still early in the process, but once it gets going, it's too late. So
The earlier, the better.
Yeah.
I think there should probably be 3 meetings if that is the schedule plan on their end, to do 3 sections in Shelton. I think we should have a detailed explanation on each one of the sections and how it's going to impact the trails. We could take up
well-
1 or maybe 2 in a day. I'm not sure. Maybe they can even come out on the weekend for us to accommodate us.
I doubt that.
Well,
This
that-
is,
It's
We're
it's
talking
never
about
it's never a
utility.
problem to ask though.
it is a utility we're dealing with.
yeah, but it's a big project.
It's a big project.
They do outreach to towns.
And they need our cooperation too.
Maybe we could do some split ones, you know, maybe like one on a weekend and one during a work day or something like that, if people feel it's necessary. And it might not have to be like all 29 people there were on Eversource's mailing list.
No,
It
no.
might just be one or two of them on a weekend or
I mean,
something.
that meeting that Bill and I went to, it was kind of a dog and pony show, and there was a lot of information that definitely not pertinent to trails exactly. It sounds like you're probably more interested in at Shelton Lakes, you know, what about this spot and what about that spot and what about the other spot and so forth, the details of it.
Well, and yeah, and how it's going to, you know, when it's going to be, if it's in the, well, they're talking about starting in the fall. It probably won't, but anyway, what we're most concerned about is the good weather aspects of a thing. So,
Well,
We want to know when and how it's going to affect the trails and how they're going to leave it after. I don't know how many meetings it's going to take, but we should meet with them to let them know that we care about this stuff and we're going to be paying attention.
absolutely.
We're
So,
stakeholders now.
there you go.
Question,
I-
Bill. To what degree should other
Stakeholders.
agent, like the engineering department or Public and Highways and Bridges or the mayor's office, I mean, who else should be involved or in the loop that we have, or at least that we are communicating with Eversource our needs directly?
I would think the Board of Aldermen, the aldermen might, the ones whose the power lines go through their districts would want to know what's going on so they can talk to residents intelligently.
Okay.
Well, they originally wanted to meet with the mayor. They actually met briefly with him and they said, okay, now shall we have detailed meetings? And he said, yes, get Teresa and Bill involved. So the mayor sort of pushed it off to us and therefore the committee, not just the two of us.
Yeah.
So that's why we met with him first. And so I think we definitely should set up a meeting, obviously for this month, which they recommended. And Terry,
I would suggest, because there's probably going to be equipment staging and all that jazz, that at least the city engineer's office be made aware.
Yeah, I think if you just at least told Remus it was going on, he could decide where to go or what's the assistant engineer's name again?
Shauna?
Shauna?
Shauna.
You know, he might send her, but that's probably during a workday thing. They probably wouldn't come up on a weekend thing.
right.
So maybe do the first one on a weekend, and if we got to do another one, weekday, and then the next one on a weekend, that happens. If it happens.
So they suggested sometime in the middle of this month. So
St. Patrick's Day?
same thing. Yeah, Thursday. We'll all have a green beer and get our magic markers out and say, no, we want it here. We want it there.
How about a Wednesday? Is everybody available on a Wednesday
During the day, fine.
during the day?
The reason I'm suggesting it, Bill, is that if in the process of this, they have to meander outside of their current easement area, I'm thinking over at the end of Oak Valley Lane,
Which they do.
they're going to have to get some sort of approval from the Board of Aldermen. And so the earlier that we let them know that our concerns are being brought to them early on, it's just less surprises. And, the earlier you're on the ground floor, the earlier you're likely to be the winner of any argument.
Yeah. Well, I think too, exactly what stuff that Val was saying, when's it going to happen? What's going to happen? How's it going to happen? How's it going to get restored at the end of the day? Eversource, if they're left to their own inclinations, will put in these great big 30-foot wide riprap roads everywhere. And, there's places where we want to get rid of invasive species and make sure they don't expand. There's places we want to save some trees or shrubs like the mountain laurel along the rec path. We don't want to like
Yep.
whack that. Be a little strategic there or sensitive there. And there's places where we're going to want to see it restored at the end. So the vistas look nice and they don't bring in red sandstone riprap like they did when they did the other repairs along the power lines.
That's a good
So,
point.
this past Sunday, I was up at the Racebrook track, and the trails go right alongside a long section of the monopoles that were installed there. And there are a lot of them. When they talked about putting a couple in between each one of the existing towers, it looks just like a parking lot with all these monopoles on it. And the foundations are huge on these things. So all along the rec path, there are probably going to be big cement trucks going in and out of there that are probably going to tear up the rec path like crazy, or other paths that we've already got existing. But they're pretty big. And when you look down the line, going off toward the Merritt Parkway, it looks like rush hour traffic. I thought it was going to really improve the view with the monopole, but there are two. I didn't see any of the original drawings, but are there going to be two lines, or is it just going to be one set of poles carrying all the high tension wires? Does anybody remember that?
It's gonna be just the way it is right now.
Okay, so there'll be two rows, and every time they went to turn a corner, they actually had 4 poles all directly together, all bunched together.
In this case, they're going to be as many as 3.
Between the high tension towers now.
No, I'm saying at some locations, there'll be 3 monopoles
Okay.
side by side. In a few, they pointed us, the maps that we had, they showed. And there certainly will be more monopoles than there are existing towers now, but not, it didn't look to be dramatically more.
Right.
I mean,
Just in certain spots.
maybe 30% more than now, not
Here's
twice.
the deal on that, Bill. Engineering wise, they're going to put in the monopoles that they need put in to properly, take the wire load and make the corners and so on. It's going to be disruptive. There's going to be concrete trucks. There's going to be clearing that's going to occur. I think Terry's hit the nail on the head. When things are all said and done, we want the restoration and the type of materials brought in to be native to our area and harmonious with the look and feel that we have enjoyed for all these many years. My brother was working with Iroquois Pipeline when they put the pipeline through from New York to Long Island. Let me tell you, it's a disruptive project when you put those kind of things in. But things have a way of restoring, but we want to make sure that they restore with the proper native plants, with the proper colored materials, not such a wide highway for an access road for the future. But the idea of how many monopoles they're putting in or where they're going to put them in, that's all going to be an engineering issue that we're going to have no sway over. Period.
Right. Agreed. That's true. That's true.
As far as
areas that we don't want that giant riprap that people are going to walk on and break their ankle and stuff. Like it's amazing when you walk, or like the Great Ledge, they just redid all those bases, all those cement bases for the existing 2 years ago.
Yep. Yeah,
Nice.
Bill, you and I spoke with the crew that was there. They were from Georgia, so that that was a big project. But up at the Racebrook track, right where the power lines cross underneath, you could tell that the material that was laid down was exactly the material that was on the rest of the paths that they have there. So I think we need to take a lesson from what happened down at Wesley Drive and Lane Street there. That got away from us, and they put in the stuff that we didn't want to have. And at the end, we ended up having to get it restored. So the lesson there is that we need to be vigilant about the verbiage, about how it gets restored, and not just leave it up to somebody else. We left that up to the town to make sure that got restored to our liking, and it didn't. And we ended up in the end having to do it ourselves. So the lesson is we need to be involved in that every step of the way.
Well, the sooner we do that, the better off we are with the permits and the permitting agencies.
Yeah.
And the more we put stuff in writing, like if we want to have certain
Yep.
boulders covered with lichens,
Yep.
pulled aside, set aside, protected, and then move back at the end of the job so that it doesn't look like every ridge top got carved out. And
Also, conservation had directed me a couple months ago to document the existing conditions everywhere, which I've been waiting for the snow to melt to do that.
I've personally been involved in a situation like this where they put a underground pipeline through our farm in Ireland, and I will say that the restoration is where it's at. That's where you have the greatest impact, so that the years and years beyond this project, you feel good about it.
Yeah. I think with the upfront meetings, we will get a better handle on exactly from point A to point B how it needs to be restored, and you can only do that with boots on the ground and a map in front of you.
And to the point of what we want, certainly the Trails Committee has great input because you guys are out there every day and know what they have, in the Conservation Commission is going to be involved, but we're purely advisory. And that's why I say getting the engineering department involved early on to let them know what our needs are, what our desires are, what our things that are, this is the back post here. We can't go back beyond this. We can maybe allow this, but you want to start and get someone involved who has the teeth. And I think the aldermen too, getting them involved early on will be important because it's their constituents that are enjoying the amenity we have now. And we want to have them.
Probably we should talk to the Wetland Commission too, and John Cook and Gary, and just see if there's any sensitive habitats that they're concerned about. And even if they're not concerned, at least we ask them and try to get their input.
Who's Carrie? You said John Cook and Carrie?
Gary Zinohorsky, the chairman.
Oh yeah, okay.
I'm sorry, but yeah, I mean, I don't know how super duper concerned they'll be, but they might be concerned a little bit.
I think this is the kind of thing that once Teresa has documented the current state and the conditions, we'll be able to prepare some sort of a presentation, PowerPoint or something to say, look, here's the areas of our concern. Here's the areas that we have to watch for. How are we going to address this together as a partnership with the engineering or the construction and the different agencies?
All right. So Teresa, will you set up a Wednesday afternoon? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah. Or morning or afternoon. What do you care?
Well, honestly, Terry, you're the only one putting money into the Social Security system these days. So do you have an every?
Is that right,
I
Val?
beg your pardon.
I'll find a way to work around that.
Well,
If they bring people from all over the place, they may want to start at like mid-morning or something like that.
Yeah,
We do something mid-morning, maybe we can get in 2 sections on that day.
oh, I'm not on video, but I'm not. So anyway, okay. Let's see what we can come up with. Barn status and future plans. I talked to Mike today about painting, and he was supposed to get back to me before the meeting, and he did not. But he said he would talk to E and see what time he thought it would take and when he might be available, knowing what projects he had. So I'll call him again tomorrow, and I think it's time that we start pressing on this issue. Now,
Yeah, if those guys can't do it, maybe we just hire a painter to go in and spray the thing, just get that all set so we can get the wiring done.
right. Well, and of course, both the painting and the wiring are under Chris, so I'm going to see if I can't corral him, which is never easy, also in the next tomorrow or Friday. So it's time to get moving on this.
Well, the painting depends on the temperature.
Yeah, it's
And
gonna be in the 40s though.
we're gonna get cold again, and we'll probably not be able to paint until probably April.
Um,
Yeah,
It's
I
got to
mean,
be 60. It's got to be 65.
we have
right?
power, and I think those numbers are ridiculously high. So anyway, it's not like we can't open. It can dry. That 65, I think, is more if it's inside and you're worried about people and all that. But anyway, there's no reason. We can get some heaters and all that and bring it up temperature wise. So it's time to get moving, for God's sake. We got this beautiful barn and we can't use it. So, Terry, you bought a box of hooks. Huh?
couldn't pass up a deal. They had the display hooks from their showroom where they were holding up all the old leaf blowers and backpack things. So I got a ginormous crate of hooks that we might be able to use to hang all the power equipment on for $50, $100 or whatever.
Someone was going out of business or something?
No, they were redoing all their displays. So they were swapping out the stuff, all the heavy duty commercial hooks from before with the new heavy duty commercial hooks. So just had a ginormous box of stuff, $5 a piece or the whole box for $100. So I got the whole thing. So I got the workbenches in there. I've been holding off assembling it because it's been too cold to glue and screw the base and stuff together, but I can get going on that this month. And then maybe Mark and I could put our heads together and figure out how much of the stuff we can use or not use. Some of it, quite frankly, is junk, but some of it is nice, sturdy, heavy duty commercial stuff that we can hang either the stuff we have or the new electric tools that we're likely to get in the coming years. So, I mean, it's good stuff. It probably broke down to like $2.50 a hanger.
But those are hung by pegboards, or do they have a proprietary? Most of those things are proprietary on how they hang on the wall, though.
Well, some were pegboards and some had specialty hooks, but I figure we could always just screw these into boards if we're hanging them on stuff. As a backup.
We've got those other hooks that we've got the box of hooks from that's already there that you got before.
Yeah,
those are good. Those are really, really useful.
Yeah, we're going to use some of those in the long handle tools and stuff too. These were really set up so you could hang like a backpack leaf blower or the hedge trimmers. They had those hooks that they hang the hedge trimmers on, the display ones in the store.
Yeah.
You just slide them right in there. I mean, they were actually made for this stuff. And they're heavy. Some of them are like really heavy duty steel. So,
oh yeah.
If I were to suggest anything while you're fitting out the room for supplies and nuts and bolts and screws, take a look into the concept of a French cleat. It's a style of putting a board on the wall, and then you can have boxes or other things that hang onto that cleat. I've been looking to see how to redo the workshop at the farm, and that's one thing that gives us adaptability.
You just slide the things up and down the cleat. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anything should be built until we can still get the gator in there and get things. If you build something and that bench has to go upstairs, that's going to be very difficult to get upstairs.
Not with you and Bill moving it.
No, I would say hold off until we can get the gator in there, get everything regraded on the outside, and we can figure out just where things really go once the gator and the DR gets in there. I don't think anything should be put together until that all gets figured out.
Well, at some point we got to get going on it, like Bill says. So,
well, it's not like we've got to make a business out of it. If we get it going right, rather than making mistakes and then have to lift it up the stairs, that's going to be a problem.
Well,
I will say that haste makes waste.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think obviously the big pieces of equipment can only go in one location. But I think with the work party situations, you guys can be a little creative, and you can have tables hang from the walls that pop down into place or whatever. I think you're gonna be able to make it work. But Mark's right. You want to make sure that you can get the stuff in place first.
Yeah, we may have to offer the guys at building maintenance, I don't know, beer or pies or something, pizza. I don't know what to get them in there.
We can always put in a Murphy bed for those that want to stay overnight too. So.
Well, I always figured Mark would have a cot underneath the stairs, kind of like Harry Potter, and you know,
There were several nights I was down there painting at 10 o'clock at night. So with the lights on the truck. So just to get the last coat on.
we can get you the cot. I'm sure they got one at Ocean State Job Lot.
One of those big foam beds, it costs like $4,000.
This is Shelton. You're gonna get a couple of tires with a piece of plywood over them.
Note to Bill, I've got to go pick up some people that are part of my group here, and I want to be back in time for our 7 o'clock conservation. So I'm not looking to press or push you guys, but
You're saying move it.
the earlier you can be done with this meeting, the quicker I can get away from it and go do my task and be back for conservation.
Oh, okay. Well, a couple of quick topics then. The issue of Allison and plantings. She wants to do some plantings, you know, volunteer labor, but she wants to be paid for the things she wants to buy. This is to the left side of the barn as you're looking at it, for both aesthetics and erosion control.
Erosion.
Yep.
Any,
I don't know, $200. I don't know what plants go for these days.
he wanted 300.
She's put up with a lot with all the digging through her shade garden. I would go for the 300.
Any thoughts? Does that seem reasonable? I mean, it's, you know, she's just buying stuff, and it's not like it's, she's not making commission off of it, I guess.
I'd say 500. Because I think she was talking about 32 plants at least $10 a piece. So you're already over the 300. And then there might be other things that she might want to get too.
There's some plants I told Allison, one of the things she was looking for was ostrich fern, and which can be somewhat aggressive, but it grows really well in those conditions. And there's some of that growing in Eklund, and I always end up throwing it out because it's always spreading into my other beds. So I could dig some up there for free.
How about $350? Well,
That sounds like a lovely number.
all right.
Well, I think that there needs to be some thought put in about what to do with the drainage in front there. If the city's going to be coming in and doing some work, you know,
Yeah, but that's not planted.
where everything comes off the dog park there, that's a big mess right now. They're going to be in there with machinery right where the front part of the garden's going to be. So I think that should be taken care of first before we plant anything.
Well, and we're going
Have we talked to them about that?
We're going to need some more gravel just to get it up to the level, you know, because a lot of it's sunk in over the winter. So,
Yeah. But I think we need to get the city involved with what is going to happen, what's going to happen with all that drainage coming off there.
I think
I mean, that affects us.
solved it, sadly, but
What's that?
they think they've solved it, according to Dave. So,
There's not an ounce of water that comes out of that pipe that they put in that runs down to Shelton Ave.
that's
No, but it
scary.
could be following the crushed stone along the pipe, Mark. You just don't see it.
Yeah, but there's all that area to the left that is coming off there, and that should really be taken care of. They can't even get their mowers up into the dog park without having them sink.
Yeah, but that, I think we can maybe fine tune that. As far as Allison ordering plants though, for putting in the spring, I don't think that if 350 or $400, if that covered her, then the other thing will be probably stone coming out of highways and bridges budget or something like that.
Sounds to me like there's a lady who likes to contribute with the flowers, and the Conservation Commission will be able to help assist in supplying the items. Where they get planted, we'll figure it out. She's
Yep,
done some gardener stuff at the Bug Park before.
Maybe up to a maximum of $400 or something like that.
I can get in touch with Allison because we were talking before the winter about different things. I can get in touch with her if you want me to.
Well,
Well, she
Yeah,
had asked me directly for.
right. And me, yeah.
Oh, and you too? Okay, so I was gonna get back to her. I said, 'cause I told her that I'd bring it up at the meeting.
Sounds like a
Right.
conservation thing to talk about, because we have the budget.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All righty, National Trails Day.
Yeah, do we want to do it or no? They have the flyer out. They're taking reservations as of March 1st. Do we want to do something on June 4th, I think it is? Or do we want to skip that one as a public event and do something later in the year and we don't feel COVID's going to be a problem?
COVID, what's that?
What's that? It's over.
That's over.
We
I
hope.
hope.
Especially it's an outdoor activity, so.
Yes,
When, right, when is the, I know they're starting to take them, and when is, do we have till next meeting, or do we
I
want to?
think we do. I think it's till April and they close the registrations. I can double check. But before we had said no public hikes, but now that things are getting better, do we want to start thinking about that? We also have the 10-year anniversary of the rec path in October.
What?
Grand opening of the rec path, 10 years this October.
My lifetime, glad I would survive 10 years beyond what I ever expected.
You can all dress up like Pikachus.
The
No,
last time,
no.
What did he say?
He said we could all dress up like Pikachus. And I go, no.
Inside joke for the people who've been here for a long time.
right, we did, yeah, the original Trails brochure had a Pikachu on it.
It was
We're
that
more like
poster I
like
did.
Snorlax though.
I did a poster with magic markers of the rec path of the way I kind of just imagined it. And Ryan was like 5 at the time and said, put a Pikachu in there. And so I did.
Yep.
If you go on the Trails blog and you Google Shelton Trails grand opening, you'll see the pictures from everybody like younger, skinnier, having a nice time.
Less gray.
Like I said,
No.
younger, skinnier.
We're more like a
2 years ago-
Snorlax now though.
2
But,
years ago,
yeah.
we were going to do it. We were going to do it at the basically bottom of the hill, go up to the rec path and then around and back again. I guess more of an issue, do we want to do it, is what would we do? And so anyway, why don't we just
Table it.
kick that around?
You
on
do have some new trails.
When we canceled 2020, weren't we planning to do Tamor up from the
That-
beach in Tamor
that's
and the
right.
Oh,
beach
yeah.
bypass and all of that?
That's
Right.
right. Yeah, so
I mean-
that's actually new since the last time we actually did a trails day. Also, the Pearmain Path reroute, that's a nice 2-mile loop now.
Oh, yeah.
But boy, parking there is a real issue, certainly.
Yeah.
Well, I was just going to bring that up, Bill. I know there was a marshmallow hike a couple years back when we had the
Full moon hike.
overwhelming amount of people that showed up. I think, there's still a pent up demand of people wanting to get out and
Yeah.
experience new things.
Yeah.
And so I think going to a new trail would be helpful, but, and enlighten people about the breadth of trail activity there is in Shelton. But I think you want to do some sort of a reservation system if you're going to do it. So I kind
And
of shy
parking
away
at the
from
beach would
national
be better than
trails.
parking at Nickeldale. Yeah.
And well, and French's Hill, by then we could have it ready for
Yeah.
Maybe. It does have some footing issues, though. We'll kind of have to play it by ear.
That might be a good one for a fall hike if we want to do a fall hike when it's a little bit drier.
all right, well, let's kick that around vis-a-vis emails over the next couple of days or weeks, I should say. And then if we do have until the April meeting, that would make sense to wait.
I'll check on the timeline for that.
All right. Obviously, the expenses, you've already submitted them, Terry, I guess, for the hooks and whatever.
Yeah, so
Uh,
it's-
Eagle Scout projects, unfortunately, I heard back from Melissa, and she is not going to build the kiosk at
Oh.
this. Yeah, very disappointed.
Did she say why?
No, she just kind of, I actually had to email her a couple of times, what's
Yeah, I
happening?
know.
Bye. So, yeah, she just came back with sort of a nondescript, I can't do it. I'm sorry, I'll continue to use the trails. Right, that's at least a project if we do have a Boy Scout or
Yeah.
Girl Scout.
okay,
All
well,
right,
putting it in the back hopper then. Oh, work parties. We're gonna do the
Oh, yeah.
12th. The 12th is gonna be French's Hill.
Sure, why not?
Just jinx this for snow again.
I'm sure it will snow like crazy on the 11th. 4 feet.
And obviously
Yeah.
the city did do some work in there. I don't know.
Oh,
guess
yeah,
some-
just today I tacked up some white wooden arrows. Linda Hooper had some old boards from an old thick picket fence, and she gave me the boards, and I sanded them down and painted them white because there's a couple spots in there that need a little more than a double glaze. And I have everything, the entire trail blazed except for the very northern tip, the lower part of the hill, where there's two different options, and I'm not sure which option is the better option.
Oh, yeah.
So that's just still flagged, but everything else is blazed.
Great.
If the snow gets out of there, we can cut brush and we'll see where all the wet spots are.
And I am interested in that cement pond
Yeah.
or whatever.
I don't know why they built it.
Yeah, that's bizarre. Okay, March 26th. Do we want to make a decision now or kind of play it by ear and see what needs to be done?
Yeah, maybe see what needs to be done. It might be French's Hill step 2 or something like that.
I agree.
Wouldn't be
No need,
surprised.
no super rush.
We did postpone a work party at the vernal pond. I don't know. Yeah, Mark may be reconsidering that.
Well,
Where?
I was thinking that French's
Oak
Hill
Valley?
is a little bit more priority, I think, because of the requirements of the city to meet and everything else. So I haven't pushed that.
Vernal pool, now you don't want to do it in the spring. Any time now, within a few weeks, or the frogs are going to start laying their eggs.
Well, I think the vernal pool was just going to have some rocks put in. So,
Okay.
that can you educate us on that? I mean, if we were to bring down the water level to
No, don't do
pull out
Not
that
this
muck,
spring.
if we were
Nope.
to do that now, if we were to
Now,
do
you've
that
only
now,
got, it's different every year as to when exactly the early birds will start to lay their eggs, but it can actually be just about this early if we get a warm spell and it's raining. It can actually, March is when they lay their eggs.
Sounds
It's
like
always March.
Sunday. 60 degrees and raining.
Yep, it's the first rainy night after all the snow melts.
uh,
It could be 33 degrees. If it's raining and the snow's melted, they'll all just get out and head off to the vernal pools.
so is that when we start to hear the peepers and stuff like that? Is that when they're really starting to do it?
Peepers are a little bit later than the wood frogs.
Okay.
Wood frogs are unbelievably early.
Okay.
They'll be hopping around out on the ice.
All right. So we've lost the opportunity to get that area dried out. So we can just put rocks in there, I guess, then again.
Or just wait until, the June or July or whenever they're done.
We could also work it where we could, if we can get some fill material there, we could build a cofferdam just to be able to get that one section dried out and then build it up, which would probably be a good idea. And that would preserve the vernal pool even better because we'd have a cofferdam already in place before the spring rains and everything come.
Not sure how that would work, Mark.
Well, we'd come off from the Oak Valley side and come right straight across and leave a small stream running because that other section would be filled in. And we can make a cofferdam that comes right straight down in front. I mean, the section's got to be dried out, right? Before you start putting fill in there.
I'm,
Why do we need fill? I mean, we're only talking about hikers. We're talking about a 2-foot wide, whatever, or even a bog walk. I mean,
yeah, I think that'd be a smaller thing than bringing in fill for that section. I just think that might be a lot of extra work that we don't necessarily need for most of the year.
What I'm concerned about is the, I don't know if they call it an aqueduct or the channel there now. The vernal pool really was never there before, because the bottom of the existing aqueduct is about 1.5 feet lower than what the ground is now, where we go over the top of it, right? I mean, so the vernal pool is really something that's come about because of the collapse of the channel, right?
Yeah, but the point is, it is there now, so.
Oh yeah. Well, I want to
Let's go in
preserve it.
there
I
and
mean,
lay their eggs.
right. What I'm suggesting is that we make take a look at the existing, I don't know, what is that called, a culvert, a stone culvert, and possibly fill that in once and for all so that the vernal pool is preserved, because water can come down through there, and the water is going to find its natural course in between the tops of the stones of the existing stone culvert that got collapsed. But so I think we need to make a formal decision about what to do with the culvert, and maybe fill in the culvert so that for once and for all, and Bill, the low area right there could be filled in with a couple of truckloads and not a lot of work, and we could preserve the vernal pool once and for all. But I'm concerned about the aqueduct, the way it's collapsing and how it is 1.5 feet lower. And because I want to preserve the vernal pool, I'd want it as high as possible so that during the summer months it doesn't dry out.
Well, no,
And-
see, it's vernal pools by definition actually do dry out in the summer.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, we're not trying to create a pond.
And the reason, and that's why they're called vernal pools. That means vernal means spring. So they're spring pools. And the fact that they do dry out in the summer means that fish can't live there. And that's why the amphibians can breed there.
Well, no, you're missing my point. I'm not talking about damming that whole section. I'm talking about containing the existing stream that goes through there now to the right of that tree. That seems to be the right level for preserving the vernal pool. But what I'm saying is that because of the collapse of the culvert, it can possibly drop down another 1.5 feet. And I think we need to make a decision on what to do with that, and possibly get a mini excavator in there, take out 10 rocks or so, fill it in, and preserve the vernal pool the way it's existing.
Well, number one, we're not going to solve that now. Tom needs to get away.
Yeah.
I think the only way to discuss this really is to be on site.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's.
Yeah, maybe we take a look at that one.
Yeah. Yep.
So any more comments by members?
Nope.
All right. I suggest we adjourn for this meeting.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
See ya.
All right. See you on the 12th of
On the
sooner.
12th.
Thank you very much, everybody. Sorry for the
Okay.
pressure to end the meeting promptly, but appreciate it.
Have a good time skiing.
Yeah.
No, I'm
enjoy.
actually just, my skiing's done for today. Skiing's done for the trip.
Oh.
I gotta pick up some other buddies and bring them home, and then be here for the conservation meeting.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Very
See you
good.
later.
Yeah.
For the ones
Bye,
that-
everybody.
Bye all.